Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Great League, showcasing another very powerful team featuring Umbreon. Umbreon on team number 3 from my top 5 best teams for the Great League. Umbreon will be serving as the safe swap. On team number 3, Umbreon is here to draw out any potential Medichams that may be lurking in the back on the opponent's team. Umbreon quite tanky. You want to draw out those Medichams to free the path for Scrafty to do what it does best, and that is close the game strong. Preferably with a shield advantage, as Umbreon most often than not can often grab a shield from a Medicham, and that sets up Scrafty beautifully to close with a shield advantage. Scrafty, one of my favorite and one of the more underrated closers in the Great League. And also on this team, we've got Toxapex, completing the classic Poison Double Dark line. Toxapex, as bulky as it gets on the lead, protects our back 2 dark types from the Charmers and the very, very overpowered fighters in the Great League. The dynamics of team number 3 proved to be quite effective. You have 2 tanks that don't need shields. Saving those for Scrafty is the play. And here we go. Deoxys. You can stay in and dance around with the Deoxys a little bit, but I usually just immediately go into Umbreon, because a lot of trainers are unfamiliar with that matchup, and at a glance it seems pretty decent for Deoxys, but it's really not. Umbreon wins that. It's not particularly close, and the reason why you still want to swap out is to check for a flyer, and that is exactly what we are met with here. It's usually a Noctowl, but they happen to have a Dragonite in the back. It's not a Shadow, so it's doing significantly less damage. I do believe if you are going to run Dragonite in the Great League, you definitely want that to be a Shadow. Otherwise, I'm not sure it's quite worth it. And as we can see, Umbreon absolutely putting in the work, grabbing a shield and flipping switch. I'll take that all day, 100%. And the Deoxys throws, immediately not wanting to tank any super effective damage. It's still a problem for Scrafty, so we're just going to come in with Toxapex and play out the zeros here. We win this in the zeros, I do believe. It's pretty close, but I do believe we are left standing in the end. And they're running Rock Slide, so it's even better for us, and even better for Scrafty, as there's nothing they can hit us with that would not be resisted. We know that, so we're just going to catch the resisted damage on Scrafty. The Deoxys is just about done catching that resisted damage, and they had a Quagsire at a shield disadvantage. It can do nothing to Scrafty. Good game, well played. Team 3 absolutely puts in the work. All 3 of these Pokemon thoroughly underrated and underutilized in the Great League. And here we go. Noctowl lead. We win this, but we can't stay in, because 9 out of 10 Noctowl leads will 100% have a Medicham and generally a Lantern in the back. So gotta check for the Medi. You have to do that. So we're going to catch this onto Umbreon here and draw out the Medi on cue as anticipated. So far, we are reading the team like a book. I do suspect that it is team number 2 from my top 5 best teams for the Great League, that being Noctowl, Medicham, and Lantern. So that's what we're playing with in mind. And if it is team number 2, it's going to be tricky. Going to be very tricky here. So let's see what we can do. We just play out the zeros, by the way. You do want to draw out that Medicham and win. And if you do, you play out the zeros. And if they're running the recommended moveset of Ice Punch and Psychic, you will grab a shield from the Medicham, because they cannot farm down. So that's what we're playing for here. But this is a beefy Medi. Holy smokes. That must be a top tier Medicham. Oh, that just barely KO'd. So now we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're not going to get the alignment we want. So what I'm going to do is just dig my heels in and actually pup through this tanky owl here. We will 2-shield and everything. And if we need a third, we've got a third shield coming in the form of Toxapex. Oh, I had to bite down on the mouthpiece for this one. And yeah, like I said, the play, pup through the owl, leave with loaded energy, and grab those shields from the tanky Lantern that is undoubtedly in the back. Gotta farm down in 6. Oh, we get it. If we didn't, we would have caught it on our third shield, Toxapex there anyways. And there it is. It is team number 2 from my top 5 best teams for the Great League, grabbing a shield from the Lantern. And we've got another boosted foul play locked and loaded here for the very tanky Lantern, and they do let that one go. So now we could catch the Surf, but that is risky because if we do that, the Lantern will just look to over-farm. Instead, we're just going to let Scrafty go and trust in our Toxapex here. Gonna bait with a Brine to grab that final shield. They have to shield this. A Sludge Wave would be lights out, but they don't. Holy smokes. Oh my goodness. The confidence to successfully call that, hats off to them, but Toxapex has something to say about that. We Poison Jab it down. Not worried one bit, guys. Team 3 prevailing over Team 2. You love to see it. Good game, well played. I'm telling you guys, if you have all 3 of these Pokemon for team number 3, I would highly recommend giving it a try. And here we go, Shiny Pidgeot on the lead. This is absolutely fine for Toxapex because, again, we are about as tanky as it gets. If they Brave Bird, that's even better because that incentivizes them to swap out. But they don't. They Feather Dance, so now we will make... just negate that energy that they just threw by swapping to clear the debuff, and we draw out the Medicham. Again, that is what Umbreon is on this team to do. Draw out those Medichams that are almost always lurking in the back, which clears the way and gives Scrafty a better chance to sweep the end game. And here we are doing just that, going for the foul play on the Shiny Medi. So far, an all-shiny team. Very nice to see. Had a Shiny Pidgeot and a Shiny Medicham here. They go for the Ice Punch. That does no damage, and we're going to look to get off another foul play. Another Ice Punch will not do the trick for the Medicham. We will survive, and we will get off this foul play here. This is generally right around where you grab that shield, as they don't want to get too low, and we do grab that shield. You love to see it. That is how the team is designed. Get that shield from the Medi, draw it out, get the shield, take it out with Toxapex, and let Scrafty roam free and wreak havoc. That is how you play this team here, and we are getting quite low. Going to preserve a little bit of health. You never know when that could come in handy. We say bye-bye to the Medicham, and now it's Scrafty time. Gotta put the faith in the Scrafty to bring it home. Up a shield. Not that it necessarily needs it. Gonna call the Feather, or not call it. They didn't even bother building up. Not that it needs it. Scrafty has very nice bulk, but just securing a shield advantage just makes it that much better and just further compounds the effectiveness of Scrafty in the Great League. Now we will begin to shield, as another Feather Dance would be getting us quite low. We are now debuffed times 3 here. Gonna look to go for the severely debuffed foul play. It does not quite KO, but a couple of counters should do the trick. And the Pidgeot is gone. Oh, and they've got a Lurantis in the back. Oh my goodness. Tried to get to that foul play. We couldn't quite get it. Can Toxapex hang on long enough to get to the Sludge Wave? We do. Holy smokes. Oh my goodness, Toxapex, so clutch. We're saying bye-bye to the Lurantis, and just like that, Toxapex with that extreme bulk coming in super clutch to close strong. That's going to be a good game. Well played. I'm telling you guys, holy smokes. How about Toxapex with that bulk coming in clutch in that last one? Here we go. Not a good lead. That's a Spark Lantern. Water Gun Lantern would have been A-okay for Toxapex, but Spark Lantern does edge it out. And we needed to swap out to draw the Medi anyway, so this is exactly where we are. Umbreon on the Medi here. And again, Umbreon can often grab a shield from Medicham. That is just the power of Umbreon with the extreme bulk in the Great League. You love to see it. And these Ice Punches don't do a whole lot, but it's really that with plus the super effective counters, which really do begin to add up on the very tanky Umbreon. Another Ice Punch will not KO from this health range, and we will be able to get off another foul play. And in hindsight, I think the ideal way to play it is to throw at least one Last Resort. I think you need to throw a Last Resort to perhaps get that done, but they often shield anyways, so I think you can just go foul play as well. I might have to try throwing a last resort. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. I didn't even bother looking it up. But we do tank the Psychic and we get that farm down. Not shielding Toxapex whatsoever. And now it is Scrafty time. So, not sure what else they could have in the back. They are leading Lantern. I was sure there was an Owl in the back because they also had a Medi, but they're staying in. So that sort of clued me in that maybe they're weak to a Scrafty in the back. And if that is the case, there's most likely a Steel type in the back, usually coming in the form of Stunfisk. So right about here, that is what clued me in, that they're fighting so hard to get rid of the Scrafty. Something in the back does not want to see a Scrafty. So we're going to look to take out this Lantern, of course, but we need to stay healthy with our Scrafty because if there is a Stunfisk in the back, we have to be healthy. We cannot tank this Surf because that would allow the Stunfisk to farm down. So we kind of panicked a little bit and just threw Toxapex in to take out the Lantern. It was absolutely terrorizing our existence. But it's not, it is a Stunfisk. So we read the team like a book, but it's not good because doing that just allows the Stunfisk to overload on energy because they are triple resisting our fast move pressure and the brines just don't do enough damage. So this is over because we brought out the Toxapex, allowing them to just overload on energy. They can just get rid of us with a Rock Slide and outpace us to an EQ. So yeah, maybe letting the Surf go was the play, but it would have been an uphill battle either way. Good game, well played to the opponent. Oh, I was absolutely loving team number 3 from my top 5 best Great League teams in the Great League. For reasons like that, we had a Charm A9. Well, I'm assuming it's Charm, but even if it's Powder Snow, it's still no good for Toxapex. And they bring in an Obstagoon, and we had just the answer to an Obstagoon coming in the form of our Scrafty. Gonna throw a Power-Up Punch. We don't want to get too low. We do want to secure switch advantage. And maintain our very favorable alignment. We get rid of the Obstagoon and we remain relatively healthy. If this A9 is indeed running Powder Snow, it's not, it's Charm. I was going to say, if it was running Powder Snow, Scrafty was absolutely going to put in work on it, but it is not putting in any work on a Charmer, that is for sure. So we do keep the favorable alignment and switch clocks not quite up, so they're taking massive super effective damage, and they've got a Diggersby in the back. So a minor critique would be perhaps throwing that brine on this Diggersby rather than banking it, because that would have made this a lot more comfortable for Umbreon here. As Diggersby is just so bulky that it's quite the match for Umbreon, I will say. But it's fine. We're not necessarily looking to take out the Diggersby. We just want to get it low enough, perhaps within Brine range, because we do have loaded energy on our Toxapex. Not going to shield anything here. Just going to slowly but surely whittle away at the very tanky Diggersby here on the other side. And they are now beginning to shield. That is beautiful. We'll take that. And now we will aggro swap back into our Toxapex. Umbreon did the job, putting in the work on the Diggersby. We now have both shields. We don't need any charge moves for that A9. We need to shield everything. I knew they were just going to bait us. I knew it, but it's not worth risking it because I would much rather tank a potential Psyshock from an A9 rather than a big Earthquake with Stab from a Diggersby. And they do successfully double bait our shields, but that is okay because we are saying bye-bye to the Diggersby and we are shredding through this A9. It will get to a Psyshock, but we are about as tanky as it gets, although it's super effective. We hang on and the A9 goes down. Oh, you'd love to see it, Toxapex. If you've got one, I would definitely run it on Team 3. Good game, well played. Oh my goodness, team number 3 from my top 5 best Great League teams was putting in the work. It was so much fun to use, and here we go. Noctowl! Again, we've seen this story before. We will eventually have to check for a Medicham in the back. So I decided to play this a little bit different. I was finding a lot of value in severely compromising the Owl's health before checking for the Medi by swapping into Umbreon. So just going to let them unload a little bit of this energy onto Toxapex. And perhaps catch. No, we could not successfully catch, but we do eventually make the swap into Umbreon to check for a Medicham in the back. We don't shield anything on Toxapex or Umbreon because they are about as tanky as it gets in the Great League. And they have a Registeel in the back, so there isn't a Medi in the back. They have a Registeel, and I'm making note of that because I know fellow content creator Human Catcherbug recently featured a team with a Noctowl lead and a Registeel in the back. It also has a Shadow Swampert. So that's what I'm reading at this moment. A lot of people like to run his teams. That's what I'm playing with in mind. I'm now reading that this is the Human Catcherbug team with Noctowl, Registeel, and Shadow Swampert in the back. They do go for the debuff with the Zap Cannon, as they do need 2 moves. They're not going to be able to farm down. So just going to rip off these foul plays and really whittle away at the Registeel. And we've got it in the low red. So they decide to bank a little bit of energy and aggressively swap back in their Owl. That's beautiful. We're just going to farm this Owl all the way down. We will have to tank a move in the process, but I'm reading there's a Swampert in the back, and Scrafty in the 2s up against Swampert does quite well. We do tank that Sky Attack, and there it is, right on cue, the Shadow Swampert. So going to look to pressure one of those shields. We do get that shield, and now it is Scrafty time. It is confirmed. This is the Human Catcherbug team. Let's see how team number 3 does against the Human Catcherbug team in the Great League. They may full send the EQ. They do! Oh my goodness, but Scrafty lives. Scrafty is quite tanky. Nothing that Swampert throws one-shots. We knew that. And we are now boosted. These counters are absolutely shredding. They catch the next one onto the Registeel. That is beautiful. We needed to get rid of this thing anyways. And now it is smooth sailing from here. The Swampert cannot farm down. And we've got 2 shields. We get to this brine. Oh my gosh. Team number 3 putting in the work. We get to this. And we're saying bye-bye to the Swampert. Human Catcherbug team, no problem for team number 3 as we 2 shield flex. That's going to be a good game, well played. Oh, had to assert a little dominance in that last one with the 2 shield flex. You love to see it. Here we go. Deoxys lead, going to go immediately into Umbreon. Again, try and coax them into staying in because, again, a lot of trainers are unfamiliar with this matchup. They think it might be decent for Deoxys, but it's really not. It's not good for Deoxys at all. As these counters do not have stab and Deoxys does not hit particularly hard, so the counters don't matter as much. And they take super effective damage from our fast move pressure as well as our foul plays. As we saw, they no-shielded the first foul play, and we're going for foul play number 2 here, and now grabbing shields from the Deoxys. Wow, that very interesting to see them stay in. But again, they may not be familiar with this matchup. We tank another Thunderbolt, no problem. There's no way they're throwing a double resisted Psycho Boost. And we're going for foul play number 3. Putting intense pressure. They just let their DD go. That's a massive obstacle out of the way for Scrafty. And they've got a G-Fisk in the back. Umbreon absolutely putting in the work in the Great League. You absolutely love to see it. Gonna get off one last foul play on our way out, and now it is Scrafty time. Holy smokes. Scrafty just runs right through G-Fisk. Gonna let this go, even if they do full send the EQ. It doesn't KO. We let that go, no problem, and we still have the shield advantage here. Gonna go for the foul play. I like to just go straight foul play, and if it's from full health, you will need to throw a power-up punch at the end. Setting up Scrafty with boosted attack stat for whatever they bring back in. This is just the resisted Rock Slide, not going to cut it. And the Stunfisk is now gone. And they top left! Holy smokes, I don't know what they had in the back, but it wanted nothing to do with the remainder of our team. Good game, well played. Nothing but pure domination with team number 3 from my top 5 best teams for the Great League. Here we go. Positively coming in the form of Obstagoon, and they swap into a Golbat. So I'm going to bring Umbreon in onto this Golbat 100%, as Umbreon wants nothing to do with an Obstagoon. It's a nightmare matchup. So this is the alignment here. And they safe swapped a Golbat. They led with a dark type coming in the form of Obstagoon. So I'm reading that there's likely another poison type in the back. It's basically the inverse of this very team that we're running. We're running Poison Double Dark. And from what I'm reading, they're running Dark Double Poison. Very fun to see in the Great League. And we are just letting all this go here and going to look to secure a shield advantage with our Umbreon. That is Umbreon's job on the safe swap with team number 3. And that is exactly what we have done here. And we do just let Umbreon go down. Just going to bring back in Toxapex here to finish off this Golbat. We absorb all the damage quite comfortably from the Golbat, no problem. They are at Shadow Ball energy. We tank that all day, no problem from the Golbat. It is the Shadow Ball. We do tank that quite easily. They aggressive swap back into the Obstagoon, so we're going to bring Scrafty in, reading that there's another poison type in the back. And if that is the case, Scrafty doesn't do particularly well against most of the poison types in the meta, so just going to bring Scrafty in onto the Obstagoon. It is quite dominant for Scrafty. Going to go for the Power Punch here and say bye-bye to the Obstagoon. We are now boosted. Shields are now even. And there it is. It was Dark Double Poison, the inverse of our Poison Double Dark line. Oh, man. Going to go for the boosted foul play. Pressure that final shield, but they let it go on the Shadow Nidoqueen. And that basically sealed the deal here for us. Holy smokes. They were trying to call a Power Punch bait. We do not bait poison types with Scrafty. It is far too risky. We will have to get a debuff from this resisted Poison Fang. And we're going to spin the shield here. Because we have loaded energy. We have basically back-to-back brines here. This Golbat is quite low. Going to go for the brine. They let it go, realizing that it was over. We had the back-to-back. And Toxapex left standing in the end once again. Good game, well played to our opponent. And that is the team, my friends. How about team number 3? Putting in the work in the Great League. There's a reason why it made it onto my top 5 best teams, guys. It is the best Poison Double Dark team you can run right now. You could make a strong argument for perhaps running Sableye on the safe swap instead of Umbreon. You don't have to check for the medi nearly as much. You can just, if you run Sableye on the safe swap, you can just stay in on those owl leads and just win lead. Which is also a decent idea for team number 3, but I wanted to run it in its original form just to show you guys that have tuned into my top 5 best teams for the Great League, just to show you team number 3 as strong as advertised. So it's a classic line, guys. Poison Double Dark just works so well together. The poison and dark typings complement each other's weaknesses beautifully. We've got the best poison type in the meta and one of the tankiest Pokemon overall in Toxapex on the lead. Just absorbs damage like you wouldn't believe. Protects the back 2 Pokemon from the Charmers and the Fighters. Umbreon, also one of the tankiest Pokemon in the entire league. You don't have to shield either one of those 2, which is why I chose them for team number 3. You can absorb all the damage on them, securing a shield advantage for Scrafty to do what it does best, guys, and that is close the game strong. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.